we'll do a review, the Maimer in Maimori Melukat in Chelik Gimel. This is the 57th Maimer, and the Maimer is Vihine Porach Mate Arin Goimer Viegmol Shkedim, which the Rebbe said in Shabbos Parshas Koirach, which was the first day of Rosh Chodesh Tamuz in the year Tovshin Lamed Gimel. It says in the note over here that later on they published it in honor of the Yom HaBoyer, the 28th day of Sivan Haboaleinu L'Toiva, which is the year Tovshin Nun. That begins in the year Tovshin Nun, begins the 50th year, and the day in which the Rebbe and the Rebbets and the Rabbonis HaTzidkonis were saved from the European Holocaust, and they reached successfully to the United States on Monday, the 28th day of Sivan in the year Tavshin Aleph. At that point, a whole new raised intense strengthening and disseminating of Torah and Yiddishkeit began. A whole new era of strengthening and spreading Torah and Yiddishkeit and spreading the wellsprings through the previous Rebbe. He founded the central Chabad institutions, Machne Yisrael, Kohos, Karnei Torah, and Merkaz and Yonah Chinuch. And the previous Rebbe gave them over under the Hanhola, the directorship and the leadership of the Rebbe Shlita. So this is the day of Chovches Sivan, and that was printed the Maimer in that honor. And this is the Maimer of Parshas Koirach, Rosh Chodesh Tamuz. In this Maimer, the Rebbe brings down a pasuk in the Parsha in which it says, Porach Mate Arin, and the idea that the blessings that come from Arin for the Kohanim, they come quickly. The Rebbe explains the whole idea in this Maimer about, on one hand, we say that a person's livelihood and all of the flow that he will get through the year is determined on Rosh Hashanah, and then we still pray every day. And it's explained that the prayer on Rosh Hashanah determines the things on a spiritual level, but to bring it down to the physical point, we need to continue to pray that it doesn't divert, it doesn't take other directions, but it comes down to Gashmis. The Rebbe asks, but isn't the prayer on Rosh Hashanah also about Gashmis and in detail? And the Rebbe explains that there is the Maisa, the way it is in the Machshava, that person thinks about doing it, but then the actual doing is another step, and there's another judgment, as we'll see in detail, as the Rebbe will explain this Maimer, but we'll go step by step. Shabbos Parshas Koirach Aleph the Rosh Chodesh Tamuz Hey Tovshin Lamed Gimel. Behine Porach Mate Arin Goimer Vayigmol Shkedim. So after they did the test, they brought in everybody of the tribe, brought their staff, and Moshe Rabbeinu presented it inside of the Oyel Moyed, and then miraculously the staff that Aaron put in as a representative of the tribe of Levi, that blossomed, and Vayigmol Shkedim, and it ripened into almonds. So there was a very specific flower and a very specific fruit, which is the Shkedim that grew on that stick. So why Epes Shkedim? Umevur b'Likutei Torah dibur hamaschil zeh. So in Likutei Torah, that opens with the same opening of V'nei Porach Mate Arin. So there he explains the Hatam Shagomal Shkedim Davke. What's the reason that it matured, that it ripened into almonds. Why almonds specifically? Ukishkedim heim memarim legomer yoser mikol hapedes, because shkedim are hastened to ripen quicker than all the fruits. And we're trying to say about Aaron that his blessings that come from the kahuna, that what comes from Aaron come like shkedim, come very quickly. But the Rebbe points out that in Likutei Torah, Umoisi b'Likutei Torah sham, in Likutei Torah he adds, doesn't just say that it is quicker than all the fruits, but the Likutei Torah adds that the word shkedim itself has the concept of haste and quick in it. And the Rebbe explains why is he adding that, to tell us that this is part of the characteristic of shkedim. It's not just that the fact that shkedim happen to ripen quickly, but it is their name is called the shaked, which means that this is what the shkedim are, and that's why the blessings of the Kohanim of Aaron is equated to shkedim. So he adds in the Likutei Torah there, shkedim. That's why they're called shkedim. Meloshin shkida umihiris, from the language of diligent and quick. We find the language of shoked, meaning the idea of quickly, because the pasuk says makil shoked. So he saw a stick of almonds, the prophet, and Hashem is saying to him, I am diligently and quickly going to do. The Eibishter talks about the punishment over there, about the destruction. So why does the Alter Rebbe have to add, in addition to telling us that shkedim ripen first, but he also says this is the name of shkedim? So the Rebbe adds, so we can say that the intent of the Alter Rebbe with this addition, he lerames, is to hint to us the hamehirus shebishkedim hu inyonim, that this haste, the quickness that comes by the almond, is actually what the almonds are. It's not just that they happen to go quickly, but this is almonds. As it's known that the name of something shows on it's what it is. So by the Alter Rebbe adding that the name shkedim itself means quickly, that means that this is what shkedim are, and that's why it gives us additional explanation how Aaron's staff flowering up with shkedim represents the idea of haste and quick. And that's why they hint for the kahuna. For the flows that come through Aaron HaKoyen, Aaron is also oisios nira, visible. In a way, sometimes you have a bracha, but it takes time. But Aaron is nira, it's shkedim, it's quick, it can appear immediately. So the Aaron, the level of nira, is quickly. Similarly to this is as it relates to all Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, because even though this is about Aaron Oisios Nira, but the other Kohanim have different names, but yet it is similar, all their children of Aaron, so they're Bnei Aaron. So dikeshe hakohanim mevorchim asahom. When the kohanim bless the people, the blessing nimsheches hashefa lemata b'mhiras gedola, that flow extends below with a tremendous speed, beli kuvim, without any delays. Kidulakamon siv zayin, as said later on in siv zayin. As the Rebbe will begin to explain over here, that sometimes the blessings that you have are delayed or they take a turn. Over here, it comes down with the force, the Kohen's bracha, that it comes down immediately and there's no delays. That is the level of Ade Nira, that's the level of Shkedim, that is the special, unique about the bracha of Ade. And now the Rebbe is going to explain that we see that sometimes everything comes from the level of Chesed, but sometimes it takes time for it to come down. It doesn't happen quickly. Well, Inyan hu base. The idea is the shoyrish kol ha'ashpoyes u'memidas chazda yizborech. The root of all of the flows comes from Hashem's kindness, which is Chesed Atzilus. The kindness of Hashem is Chesed of Atzilus. ובכדי שיומשכו מהחסד שבאצילוס hashpoes gashmis. So in order from the chesed, which is in Atzilus, to bring down, to extend a flow of physical kindness, which is boni chayim mezoine, children, life and food and sustenance, who al yidei shah chesed yeredu mishtalshel, that is through that chesed descending and evolving, b'chol ha'madreges, and all the steps sheme atzilus v'ad asiyah, from atzilus until asiyah. U'b'chol hamshoche mimadrege lemadrege, and any time it extends from one level to the next step, from one step to the next step, yesh din umishpat, there is a judgment and there is a case. Im tumshach hashefa b'hamadrege shelamato, should whether this shefa will extend in the level below, or shetishoyer b'hamadrege shelamayla, or it shall remain in the step which is higher above it. So now we'll understand why we have to daven every day. If we say that the destiny and the determination what a person should get is Rosh Hashanah, why do we have to daven every day? We ask Hashem to bless us, to rifa'enu. It's already determined. And the answer is we needed to come down from the chesed of Atzilus into our physical world. So this is the reason that we pray. We ask every day, Rifa'enu, God heal us. Or we say, Borech Aleinu, bless us, give us, that's for the sustenance, for our livelihood. Even though the food of a person has been set up for him and decided between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, they're written on Rosh Hashanah, sealed on Yom Kippur, so we know already what the person is going to have. Why does he need to daven? Now, even though we use here the lotion, the food of the person has been determined, but that really includes his life and his children and his health, everything. As the Rebbe says in the parenthesis, what does the pasuk mean here, the Gemara mean here, when it says your food are determined? We are really intending all the three aspects, the boni, children, chai, your life, and your food. So why do we need to daven every day when it's already determined? The davening is to bring it down from Atzilus into the world. The good writing and the sealing and the seal that took place on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, who hamshachas hachesed b'malchus de Atzilus. that was bringing down, extending the chesed into the level of Malchus of Atzilus. But in order so that flow of chesed should come down into physical matter, that is through the descent and chesed of Malchus Datzilus dressing up chesed de Bria in the level of chesed of Bria. So the chesed of Malchus Datzilus dresses up in chesed of Bria. Ulachar zeba chesed de Yitzira udasiya, and then in the chesed of Yitzira nasiya. So we need it to come down in the physical world. This is also what we say. The Gemara says that a person is actually judged every day. Why does he need to be judged? We already determined this. Even though that the judgment has already been completed on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Ki hadin sheberosh Hashanah b'yom HaKippurim hu sheyumshach hachesed la'odam b'malchus da'atzilus. The judgment that takes place on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is to extend the chesed to the person in Malchus Da'atzilus. So Hashem provides for that chesed for the person, but it is in the levels of Malchus of Atzilus. But on the other hand, the judgment that a person is judged every day, im hu roi, is he fit? Sha'achesed shenimshach kvar al nafshe l'maylo b'Rosh Hashanah v'yom HaKippurim, whether the kindness, is he fit? That the kindness that has already extended for his soul, on the soul, above, in Malchus Datzilus on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, whether Yered v'Yumshach, should it descend and extend B'Briya Yitzira v'Asiya to the level of Briya Yitzira, Achi Yumshach, till it will extend Lemato B'Olam Hazak Ashmi, here below in this physical world. Or perhaps maybe this kindness should remain above, and he's going to have additional delight above. He's going to have a high level above. And that's why we daven every day. Heal us and bless us. Why? We want shachesed sheniksav loy b'Rosh Hashanah b'yom HaKippurim, that kindness that was set up for him at Rosh Hashanah Kippur, yumshach lemata ba'olam hazeh hagashmi, it should extend below into this physical world. That's what we're davening. And in the ba'olam hazeh atzmei b'yonim gashmi, in this physical world, in physical matters. So there's two steps. The Ksuvim Rosh Hashanah is what comes to the person in Malchus Datzilus. What B'chol Yom, and we daven every day, is the B'chol Yom, whether it should come down from Chesed, from Malchus Datzilus into the Chesed, and it should always come down to Olam Hazeh Hagashmi, and in Olam Hazeh Hagashmi, in physical matters, in Olam Hazeh Hagashmi. And then the Rebbe says there's still another aspect that while there's another aspect in the judgment. So one aspect is to bring it down from Malchus of Atzilus into Olam Hazeh. There's another aspect in the judgment, what we do every day. The kivon shachesed shalamaylo chesed ruchni, since the kindness of above is a spiritual kindness. And yes, you're going to get, even if it wouldn't come down, as the Rebbe said before, you would get additional spiritual delights of the special hamshacha you got. But since it is a spiritual kindness, haregam la'acharei hapsagdin sheyumshach lamata ba'olam hazeh, even after the ruling of the judgment that it needs to come down in this world, there is still yeshdinu mishpat be'eze inyan Yumshach HaChesed. In what aspect should the Chesed extend itself? Is different format, different places that you can use the Eibishter Chesed. Maybe in Boni, maybe in Chayim, maybe in Mezoni, maybe in one of them, maybe in some of them. We don't know yet how the Chesed, it can be a Gashmizdike Chesed, but there's a lot of Gashmizdike things that we need. So that's also judged on every day, how to divide up that Chesed from the Ruchnis into Gashmi, which Gashmizdike things of the person should this Chesed come down in this world. That's why we instituted to daven every day the 12 brachas and tzoyos. So the Shemoneh Esrei is made up of the beginning and in the end you give the Eibishter's praise, and at the end, then in the middle you have the 12 brachas which are bakoshos srochov. So we have therefore the 12 brachas sheyesh b'hem shaylos kol tzorkei ha'adam. We request all the needs of the people because we need it to come down in specifically in all these details that we ask Hashem in the brachas, and also with tzorkei hatzibur kulam, and also the needs of the whole community, not only the person but all of the community. Now, Rebbe says that sometimes that measure is only enough for one aspect, not all aspects. I mean, you may pray for everything, but you may not get everything. Sometimes there isn't sufficient bracha for you to have everything. So a tzaddik can sometimes exchange the blessings. The Rebbe will explain now. V'hinei Gimel, Iker Hadin u'mishpat be'eze inyan yumshach ha'chesed hu. When do we need to do the second thing to figure out how should the chesed manifest itself? What exactly should it come down? What should it express? Which aspect of chesed? It is when when the kindness that was set up for the person of Hashem Kippur, chesed mitzumtzum beyoser, is a very restricted chesed. It's not a lot of chesed. She'enoi maspik, it's not a chesed that's sufficient. Sheyumshachu mimenu kol gimel ho'inyonim, that from it should extend all three matters: the boni, chayim, mezonik. Should have all three things: children, life, and mezonik. El rak shnai mehem. If he only has two, or one of them, you have to decide then which one you get. We have to judge which place, what of the get is going to come down from the spiritual bracha. But where does the bracha apply to? Because there isn't enough to cover all the needs. So then there is a judgment, there is a case. Im hashpos hachesed tiyeh beboni, should the flow of chesed be express itself children, oy bechaye, or in life, oy bemezoin, or in food. Utfilas hatzadik me'eles lahachlik minyan le'inyan. The prayer of a tzaddik helps to exchange from one to the other, from boni to chay, from chay to mezoin, as the Rebbe demonstrates with the story of the Baal Shem Tov, that he gave the person a choice that they have to give up their wealth if they want children, because they didn't have enough of a chesed that was destined from them on Rosh Hashanah to have both. As the story about the Baal Shem Tov, Shebo Elof Chasuche Bonim. They came to him, people who were lacking children, they didn't have any children. Levakshe, to ask him, she ispalel Hashem sheyeh lohem bonim, to daven to the Eibishter that they have sons. Va'ishahu haya shir gadol, and that man was very wealthy. The Baal Shem Tov says, Shebe'im hei maskimim sheyiyu aniyim, if they agree, the couple that wanted children, they asked the Baal Shem Tov to ask for children. Baal Shem Tov said to them, if they agree, sheyiyu aniyim, that they will be poor, Yilahem Bonim. They will have sons. And when they accepted it, they became poor people. They had the children, they had the sons, they became poor. Why did they have to exchange? Why couldn't they remain rich and have children? Because they didn't have sufficient. The Baal Shem Tov saw there was not enough blessing allocated to have both. So the tzaddik was able to change it. The Baal Shem Tov saw the kindness that was set up for them will not be sufficient for children and wealth together. But through his prayer, he was able to impact, he accomplished to exchange to change that flow of kindness from wealth to children. So the Rebbe explains that is specifically when there was a situation when there's only enough, so there's a lot of judgment, so you need a tzaddik to intervene. But generally speaking, when you have enough, but still you have to pray that it should be distributed in everything that you need. We can say, then, when the kindness is restricted, little, not a lot, there isn't sufficient for all matters. The boni chayim mezayna of boni chayim mezayna. Then hadinu mishpat b'yosef. Then there's a strong judgment, very strong, and you need the person. They needed the Baal Shem Tov to intervene. They themselves couldn't say, "Oh, we'll give up and we'll do that." They couldn't do that. Maybe they didn't even know it, but they couldn't do it. But so then at that stage, when there's only a restricted, limited, so in order to exchange the chesed from one matter to another, from bani to, in this case, from the mezoina to bani, that comes only through the prayer of a tzaddik. But generally speaking, even if you have a sufficient allocation of kindness for all three, the bani, chayim, mezoni, children, life, and food, but still, so then why do we need judges? We'll just get everything. But yesh din umishpat b'chol yem b'negeh l'chol hashpoah protis. There is still a judgment, and there is, because you see, we don't go to tzaddikim to pray, to exchange. We just pray ourselves, because in a normal way, there is still a judgment every day about each specific flow, each specific detailed flow. That's why we daven every day the 12 brachas, and so he is the middle brachas of the Amidah. We ask for all things, because while we need a bracha for every specific thing, that it should come down into this world, into Gashmis, into what we need in the Gashmis. Now the Rebbe right now is going to actually ask why is that needed? It almost seems like, or it is, that the prayers on Rosh Hashanah are not just in the spiritual level of Malchus Datzilus, as the Rebbe explained. They seem to talk about the physical needs of all people, what it's decided. Why are we saying here that it's only on the spiritual level, not on the physical level, as the Rebbe will continue to explain in Oiz Dalet?